All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video we are going to look into parallel lines being cut by a transversal. Specifically, we are going to identify 4 theorems regarding angle relationships that we've already discussed corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, and consecutive interior angles. And then we're going to show some examples of how to use the theorems to find some missing angle measures. And at some point, we will use them plenty in proof. So let's talk first and foremost about these angle pair relationships. Corresponding angles are not a new term for us. But what happens is that when we have corresponding angles are congruent when the lines are parallel. So for example, angle 2 is congruent to angle 6 because they are congruent corresponding angles. Those parallel lines make them congruent to one another. Well, likewise, 1 and 5 are going to be congruent, 3 and 7 are going to be congruent, and 4 and 8 will also be congruent as corresponding angles. Same thing kind of goes for our alternate exterior angles. If the lines are parallel, then the alternate interior angles, for example, angle 3 and angle 6, are going to be congruent to each other. So that means 4 and 5, being another pair, are also going to be congruent. Alternate exterior angles, you're starting to notice a pattern. Alternate exterior angles, number 1, angle 1, and angle 8, also going to be congruent if the lines are parallel. And last but certainly not least, our consecutive interior angles, always what seems to be the forgotten soul. Alternate interior angles, be careful, the alternate interior angles are supplementary. So I can say that 4 plus 6 add up to 180, and 3 plus 5 also add up to 180. So they are supplementary, not congruent. Let's take a look here at an example in which we can use some of these particular angle pair relationships to find some mistakes. So in this example, we see a couple of different pairs. It wants to find the angle value of x, the angle value of x. So let's think about this for a sec. 115 right up here, and this pair x plus 5. These are not considered alternate interior or alternate exterior or corresponding. These are different angle measures. So we can't set these equal to each other. But we do know that the measure of 4 and the measure of x plus 5 are consecutive interior. Or you also know that 4 and 115 are vertical angles. So I can say that the measure of angle 4 also equals 115 degrees. And since the measure of 4 is now 115 degrees, 115 plus x plus 5 will equal 180 degrees because they are consecutive interior angles. The corresponding angles consecutive interior angles theorem. So 115 plus 5 gives us 120, and that is equal to 180. And so then in the end, x is going to equal 60 using our consecutive interior angles theorem. Consecutive interior angles theorem. All right, let's take a look at one more. In this example, we see a pair 136, 7x plus 9, and again the goal is to find the value of x. Well, if you remember correctly, we technically do not have an angle pair relationship for these two outside values, okay? We kind of explain them as consecutive exterior angles because technically they are, but a lot of textbooks for some reason decide not to leave it in as one of our values. So for me personally, I'm 100% okay with understanding that these two values right here, consecutive exterior angles, will also be supplementary to one another. So let's kind of take that into account and do two different methods. So if we call these consecutive exterior angles, 136 plus 7x plus 9 should equal 180. Well, 136 plus 9 is going to end up getting us 145 plus 7x equals 180. Subtracting 145 on both sides, you end up getting that 7x equals 35, and that x equals 5 in the end once we divide across. But let's say, for instance, we kind of forgot about our little unspoken term of consecutive exterior angles. Well, what do we know? We know that 136, come on, people. My laptop just died, so I'm not 100% sure what you just heard. But 136 and 1 form a linear pair. 136 and 1 just form a linear pair. So that means that we know that the measure of angle 1 is 180 minus 136. Well, 180 minus 136 means that the measure of angle 1 is also 44 degrees. So I can say that 7x plus 9 equals 44 degrees. Well, how did I make that conclusion? Well, because 7x plus 9 and 44 are alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles are congruent, so I can set them equal to one another. So now I would say same approach, subtracting 9 on both sides, and you see that we still get x equals 5 in the end.